threats.
Slap me in the face, you know.
Mate, if I got what it takes.
Anger.
Don't, sir, don't.
Desperation.
Dad, I need to find 10 grand within 5 minutes.
What happens when debt
I'm not even paying a penny of it.
tracks you down?
Don't open the gates, mate. We'll force entry.
Up and down the UK,
Can somebody come to the door, please?
we see Britain's most resilient High Court enforcement agents
We need immediate police assistance.
dealing with every debtor's worst nightmare.
It's not a wake-up call most people want.
Because if you can't pay,
Doesn't have a penny, doesn't own anything.
they'll take it away. Recent research shows that the number of UK motorists being given parking fines by private companies has increased by over 25% in the last year alone. A leading motoring organisation estimates that around 4.5 million tickets were issued by private parking firms last year. It's 6:15 a.m. High Court enforcement agent Gary Brown and trainee Connor Jackson are in West London to recover a debt of almost £1,800 owed by Neelam Zagune in unpaid parking fines.
Is it a big old rugby ground, isn't it?
Do you reckon? Yeah,
Bigger than Wembley.
it's massive.
The agents have been given details of the car in which the parking offences were committed.
And I know she owns the black Fiesta. If it's in the car park, it will give us an idea if she's in. Right, look out for black Fiesta ending RSX.
But on arrival at the address, there's no sign of the car.
Just park up anyway then.
It appears Neelam may have left home already. But Gary and Connor make their way up to the third floor flat to double check.
Hello, Neelam. Can you open the door, please? Hi, Neelam. Hi there. My name's Gary Brown. I'm an enforcement agent. This is my colleague, Connor Jackson. You've been taken to court. I think you've been parking your car somewhere where you shouldn't do. So we're here to collect £1,793.77.
Okay.
You able to pay that? No. Okay.
This has gone to court. I've told them that, yes, I am the owner of the vehicle. However, I'm not the driver.
Because it's in the car's registered in your name. Wherever they ticket the vehicle, they're going to come to you if the tickets aren't paid. So the situation is now that we're here to remove goods from the property unless the debt is paid.
Okay.
So is there somebody you can call that can potentially help?
Yes.
Neelam goes inside to call for help.
Who is it you're ringing? Is it a family member?
It's my ex-partner. He's the one who has the vehicle.
Okay. Do you know if he's got the funds to pay it?
I have no idea.
Okay.
To be very honest. Hello? Should I get up? Because I got debt collectors at the door, man, asking me some money for the flipping parking tickets. They're demanding £1,700, otherwise they're gonna take stuff from my house, man. What do you mean the parking tickets aren't even that much? It's gone higher and higher and higher because they're taking it to court. What am I supposed to do? So what am I supposed to do? What do you mean, why would I open the door to them? You think they're gonna go away?
Do you want me to speak to him?
He's like, give the phone to them.
I'll speak to him.
They don't exist. Here you go.
Hello?
Well, how can I help you, mate?
We're here to collect a debt that's owed. Apparently you're the one that's incurred the fines.
Yeah, but she ain't with neither does she have the money, neither do I, mate.
Okay, then there's no point continuing this conversation, is there?
Give the phone to her, mate.
Right.
Have you got the money? Yes or no? Because if you haven't, then why the fuck am I wasting my time on the phone to you?
Gary and Connor are now in a sensitive situation. Neelam's ex-partner may have been responsible for the fines, but the writ is in her name, and she is liable for the £1,800 owed.
Neelam, we will try and make this as easy as possible. I know it's not a nice situation to be in. He's the one that's incurred the tickets on the car.
Tail end of relationships is quite a dangerous place for people when it comes to getting into debt. Because there's a lot of other things that are going around in people's heads. It's quite an awkward situation to be in. You're sort of thrust into the middle of an argument with no side to take, stood there as a third wheel. It's a very surreal feeling, and sometimes you just have to ride it out a little bit and wait for the situation to calm down.
30 minutes later, Neelam's ex-boyfriend Shazad arrives.
Is he driving your car at the moment? He's just turned up. I think he's damaged our van.
It's clear Shazad is in a hostile mood. Neelam gets him on the phone.
Hello. You've got cash? I'll buzz you in Bishop, but please, Shazad, I beg you, don't cause no commotion.
With the promise that he's going to pay up, Neelam lets her ex in.
You done something to our van? Right, the situation is...
I can give you £500, mate, that's what I got right now.
£500 isn't enough, and we can't accept an arrangement for a debt of this size. If we...
So what, you think I'm going to walk around with £17 in the pocket?
No, but they've got card
Debit card?
machine and stuff.
Huh?
Have you got a debit card?
No, I don't have no thing card.
Credit card?
Right. It needs to be £1,793.77, or we remove goods.
Well, I can
No,
give you £500 cash right now, and you can wait, and I can go grab the rest of the money.
It's gonna...
Brother, you're going to talk to me, don't ignore me, bruv. Don't walk around, don't ignore me.
Besido, Shazad, Besido, give me the £500, please, man.
Okay.
We're not going to be leaving...
Shut up, no one's asking you for anything.
Alright.
Shut up. No one's asking you for anything, is it?
Sorry,
Fucking
now.
bunch of fucking pricks, bro. Yeah, they don't stop my cock. And guess what?
Okay,
While they're fucking tickling my left
Okay,
hand right
Shazad.
This simple enforcement has suddenly escalated. Faced with more abuse, Gary and Connor will have to use all their experience to get this case resolved. Connor and Gary were in Hounslow, West London,
Hello, Neelam, can you open the door, please?
to recover a debt of nearly £1,800 owed in parking fines by Neelam Zagune.
You able to pay that?
It soon became clear that Neelam's ex-partner, Shazad, was responsible for the parking tickets.
Have you got the money? Yes or no? Because if you haven't, then why the fuck am I wasting my time on the phone to you?
But when he arrived, he immediately tried to intimidate Gary and Connor.
I think he's damaged our van.
Bunch of fucking pricks, bro. Suck my cock.
Now the agents need to try and calm Shazad down and make it clear that his £500 offer is not enough.
You haven't got any other cash, any other money you can give us, have you?
No, that's what I said to you.
With no better offer on the table, Gary and Connor start an inventory of goods they could seize to clear the balance.
What we have to do is take pictures.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But then suddenly, Shazad gives Neelam some cash
That's £600.
and makes for the door.
Shazad,
Well, you're gonna fucking take our thing as well?
Well, maybe.
Maybe.
See you later.
Ignore him, please. He's just very, very stupid.
Neelam, don't worry about it. We deal with a lot worse than that. It's fine, don't worry about it.
Has he gone home to get the rest, has he?
Let's see what sort of time he gets back.
All right, I'll inform him to hurry up.
"20 minutes later,
He's here, mate.
Shazad returns.
He's parked deliberately behind our van.
He's just trying to get one over on us.
It's clear that he hasn't calmed down.
You know how it is.
Okay,
And they hire you big lads though, so you could scare people.
No?
Trust me, because one bit, you don't scare anyone, bro.
Shazad has brought some more cash, but he's unwilling to hand it straight over.
Well, I'm going to have to count it anyway, so if you want to watch me count it.
No, I don't want to watch you count. You're going to watch me count it.
You carry on doing what you're doing, I'll have to count it after you. Waste time. I'll tell you what.
Well, I'm going to count it right next to you.
Stop wasting my time, let me count the money, right? And then you can watch me count it. Thank you. 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100.
Shazad has now cleared the entire debt in cash.
Whose name am I putting the receipt in?
Mine.
In yours.
Still ain't going to stop me from parking then.
Shazad, you're not going to pass then.
Alright, hopefully we won't have to come back. Alright, take care.
The case is finally resolved. Now all Gary and Connor have to do is work out how they're going to get their van out. But Shazad has quickly followed them downstairs.
Well, look what you're doing.
Look what you doing. You are fucking trying to make me up because taking something on the car and be like, I'm going to take a joke, man. I don't understand anything. Alright, cool, mate.
How about I call the police?
What are they going to do?
They'll move out of the way.
Well, that's going to waste their time and that. They can do that.
While Connor tries to manoeuvre the van around the Fiesta, Gary calls the police.
Hi there, my name's Gary Brown. I'm an enforcement agent with a High Court writ. We've got the writ paid, but there's a guy out here called Rashad who just wants to cause problems by blocking the car in.
What's his game?
As Connor backs up, Gary spots something.
He's punctured our tyre.
So, mate, the police are on their way.
For what?
Criminal damage.
For what?
My tyre.
And then Shazad suddenly decides to leave.
I've got his picture, he's walking off. You'll get a visit from the police, all right, mate? See you soon.
Sometimes the things that we do can cause people to lose a lot of face. And they sometimes do very silly things that it's just going to cause them more problems. But they don't realise that at the time.
10 minutes later, the police arrive.
So how much damage has been done to your van?
It's a punctured tyre. Is this something that he would be arrested for? Yeah. Is it? It is? All right.
If he's not, he'll be on our system.
I'm sure he'll regret it when you do catch up with him. Cool.
You'll be going around slashing your tyres every time someone disagrees with your job?
That's it.
Alrighty?
All right, cool.
No problem at all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All Gary and Connor can do now is wait for a mechanic to arrive and repair the van.
We've got to get the tyre changed, but who's going to have the last laugh? Because we're going to be on our way soon, and he's £1,793 down, and he's probably going to get arrested for it as well.
Research has shown that over 1.5 million low-income households in the UK are struggling with extreme levels of debt. Average household debt, including mortgages, is now over £56,000 and is predicted to increase by over 50% in the next 5 years. High Court enforcement agents Gary Ball and Matt Highway are in Yardley, Birmingham, to collect a large debt of nearly £40,000 from Mrs. Linda Bird.
Grey, horrible day.
Miserable, isn't it?
The money is owed to a firm of solicitors for unpaid legal fees arising from a family dispute which began 10 years ago.
A lot of money. £38,209.40.
That's a massive one, isn't it?
The claimant has tried several times over the last decade to get their money back. And so finally, they escalated the case to the High Court in a last-chance bid to reclaim the money they're owed.
Yeah, go on.
With such a large amount to recover, the agents aren't expecting the full amount today. But if Mrs. Bird doesn't make an acceptable offer, Matt and Gary will have to remove goods to offset at least part of the debt.
Hello, sir, how are you? I'm looking for Linda Bird.
Right, she's not here.
She's not here? No, okay, can you give her a call for me?
Who are you, mate? What do you want?
That's no problem, I can explain the way. My name's Mr. Highway, so I'm a High Court enforcement agent.
Right, okay. Hold on, babe. Can I call you back in 2 minutes? What's it regarding, anyway?
I'm here with a writ from the High Court, sir. So that's it. That is all I can tell you at the moment, unfortunately.
For what, though?
I will need to speak to Linda about it, as you can imagine. Is Linda your mother or partner?
Yeah, my mum.
Mum, okay. Smashing.
The debtor's son, Wayne, gets his mother on the phone.
You got High Court enforcement agency at the fucking front door. Alright, tell me. Should be back in a bit, mate.
With the door open, Matt takes the opportunity to make peaceful entry into the house.
Hold on. Don't come into my house, right?
Yeah.
Now you're forcing entry. Well, you better get the police here, mate.
I don't need police, sir.
Well, I do. Hiya, yeah, can I have the police, please? Right, I've had some county court bailiffs turn up at the property. They're not for me, and yet they're forcing through the door, and he's actually making me feel threatened in my own property.
The police tell Wayne the agents have every right to be in the house.
Well, you've been about as helpful as a fucking turd, so thank you. Fuck you.
Thank you.
Just come in now.
We can make entry through any open door. That's where people often get confused as to what they can and can't do, whether they are able to obstruct us. No, you know, once we've entered, we're there legally and lawfully.
15 minutes later, Mrs. Bird arrives back home.
Hiya, Linda, you all right?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry for the disruption.
No, it's okay.
My name's Matthew High, I'm a High Court Enforcement Agent. I'm here with a...
Can you tell me what for, please?
Yeah,
Right,
do you want to take a seat and we'll have a chat through it, yeah. So, the claimant took you to the county court. They've escalated that to the High Court for enforcement purposes.
Yes, tell me to take me to High Court.
The writ from the High Court commands myself and my colleague to attend here today to ask you for payment or to seize goods to the value of...
I don't want to receive my goods.
It's a huge amount of money. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, it was 25 at the time.
It's £38,000 now.
Well, I don't know about that because I thought it was squash because I haven't heard from him for 10 years. So that is a bit unfair to me that he's done that to me.
It's clear that the size of the debt, now with 10 years' worth of interest added, has come as a shock to Mrs. Bird. Matt needs her to understand what she must do next.
We are going to have to do something about this outstanding debt.
Yeah.
What can you raise at the moment?
Well,
That's a copy of the warrant for you from the High Court.
So I don't know.
Right. They're going to want a substantial down payment. It's a £38,000.
But I'm going to get money if I haven't got.
Yeah.
Can I phone him up to make arrangements on the phone? I need to give you £200 a week.
Give him a call. Give him a call.
Mind?
Linda calls the claimant's office to try and come to an informal agreement.
Hello? Hello, Mrs. Burke. Hello? I'm willing to pay £200 a week and I'll bring you down the office in the morning. I don't mind that. And I didn't know I owed that much. I've got the enforcement blokes here. Do you want to speak to her?
Yes, please, yeah. Hello?
Hello, madam. It's Gary Ball, the High Court Enforcement Agent.
Right, okay. Just hold on there. I'll see what I can do.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
The office promises to call back, but her son Wayne is not happy with the offer his mother has put forward.
Yeah, I'm going to do £200
Well, I'm going to have to rely because I can't empty the stuff.
Well, how are you going to, Mum? You can't do yourself like that because you'll have no money to eat, will you?
I'm going to have to rely.
Yeah, well, you won't be able to eat, will you?
That doesn't matter, does it? Then what the fuck you could eat?
Talk sense to him because if you start saying you're going to pay something you can't afford and then you relapse on it, he'll be back again.
Yeah, large debts are always difficult to collect. You know, when we see £40,000 and £50,000 on a writ, our eyes roll in the back of our head because, you know, unless someone's very well off, most times people will struggle with that sort of debt.
10 minutes later, the claimant's office calls back.
Hello?
Hello, Gary. Carry on doing what you're doing, please.
Okay, carry on.
Chances before. All right.
Okay, dokes. Yeah, rejected. Carry on what you're doing.
The agents now have no choice but to start an inventory of goods they could seize to offset some of the £38,000 Linda owes.
Lenovo laptop. Xbox, right?
Yeah.
One.
But Wayne has other ideas.
Well, you ain't touching that telly or that Xbox.
So as far as
I've paid for them.
As far as
and my stuff in my room and my mum's room.
Yeah, do you want to get receipts or invoices for them then, bud, and then we'll have a
I'm
look at them?
supposed to prove that. The Christmas presents.
They will be seized unless you can prove otherwise.
Like, that's my fucking property. I've paid for that.
Right.
I'm going to go and check through my paperwork.
Yeah, I'm going to take two to paperwork.
There we go. I thought I brought it from Argos, but that's Curry's. That's the receipt at Curry's. So that's for this laptop.
Alright, happy with that one.
Thank you.
What's that for, mate? Let's have a look.
I'll tell you one as well.
The documents prove that the assets in the house do belong to Wayne. With nothing to take, Matt and Gary have no choice but to try and negotiate a payment plan Linda can afford, and that the claimant might accept.
Linda, how can we resolve this? How can we resolve this?
Mate, we can't, to be honest.
As Linda is on benefits, the agents need to see proof of her income so they can work out how much she can afford to pay.
Have you got a letter for it?
You got the letter?
Have a look at the door, son.
This might help you out, so we need proof that you're getting it.
But the situation is clearly taking its toll.
Linda, calm down.
Calm down. He's just said, look, find the letters and he'll try and help you.
I'm sure he'll.
He wants to help you.
Do you want me to have a look?
Right?
There you go, that's what we need.
The documents prove that Linda is on a low income. It's now up to Matt to figure out a realistic solution.
Well, I'll tell you what I've put forward, okay? £150 today.
I can probably get 150 quid together for you today.
With £200 a month, not a week.
She would have paid them off.
I'm not saying they're going to come back and say yes to it. I don't know.
Matt calls the office to see whether the claimant will accept a £200 a month payment plan.
Hello?
But as they've already rejected Linda's earlier offer of £800 a month, he's not hopeful.
So we're at the property at the minute. As far as his assets are concerned, there isn't. So we're a bit big in the middle. But there is an offer of an arrangement, £150 today, with £200 per month going forward. We are able to set arrangements if the claimant, is happy with that. They don't have any obligation to accept an arrangement, but sometimes if there aren't any assets there, then that is the only way to move the case forward.
15 minutes later, the office calls back.
Hello?
Hi, Matt, it's Cant there. Proposed that they wouldn't want any less than £500 up front and then £300 a month going forward.
Speak to you shortly. Cheers.
The claimant is prepared to accept a deal, but at a higher monthly rate.
So the officer spoke to the client. So what they're saying is that they are willing to enter an agreement with you under different terms. What they say they would like is £500 today.
A month?
No, today, with £300 a month going forward.
I can have it by Friday, but not today. I've got £80 in there and he's got £150, that's all I've got.
And you can get the rest to us on Friday?
Sorted, yeah.
Thank you very much, I really appreciate it.
You got a card machine?
Yeah. So, yeah.
With the help of her son, Linda has agreed to meet the claimant's request of a £500 down payment paid in 2 instalments.
Take your card, buddy.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Linda's son also agrees to help her find the £300 payment plan. But with £38,000 to pay back, it'll be more than 10 years until they're debt-free.
All right, Linda, you take care, all right? No worries.
Right. You're all sorted, yeah? You understand everything?
Okay.
See you later.
See you later, all right.
Ta-ra, mate.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
We managed to get an arrangement in place in the end that the claimant and the defendant are both happy with. I think we've got the best possible outcome for the client.
Matt and Gary secured a result against the odds. But in Connor and Gary's next case...
Excuse me!
A lockdown at a car dealership...
If you don't open the gates, mate, we'll force entry.
...leads to a standoff.
So what am I doing? Am I calling the police or are you going to open the door?
Nearly 30,000 county court judgments were issued against businesses in England and Wales in the first quarter of 2017. The average amount owed now exceeds £2,700, a 36% increase from the previous year. High Court Enforcement Agent Gary Brown and trainee Connor Jackson are near Maidstone, Kent. They're hoping to collect a debt of £3,000 owed to a dissatisfied customer by car dealer Richard Adams, trading as Aspire Auto.
Oh, here we are. There it is, Gary.
Here we go.
Ah, there's 2 entrances.
There's more than 20 cars in this forecourt, mate.
With plenty of potential assets on show, Gary and Connor could have all the leverage they need if Mr. Adams can't or won't pay today. Now, All they have to do is find him.
Just have a look outside. You all right there? Can I speak to the company owner, please?
He's not here at the moment, but you can speak to me about it.
Okay. We're here about a case where the company's been taken to court.
We'll have to speak to him then, I suppose.
Yeah, can you get him on the phone for me, please?
The employee tries to call the debtor, but he's not picking up.
I can't get in touch with him yet.
You can't get in touch with him at all?
It's just going to answer phone, so.
Can you keep trying? I know this isn't your debt or anything, but...
I'm going in a minute, so...
Okay. I'll try him as well.
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hello there, my name's Gary Brown. I'm an enforcement agent and I have a High Court writ against Aspire Auto. If you could give me a call back and we can get this resolved hopefully very quickly. Thank you.
While Gary and Connor wait for Mr. Adams to get in touch, they spot the dealer's stock list on the office computer.
This will be plus services and repairs and stuff, so purchase price is that.
Because of removal and auction fees, Gary and Connor will have to remove several cars to cover the £3,000 debt.
That Peugeot, it's up for just under £2,000. Is what I'm thinking. So this is car number 1.
Focuses.
The Range Rover.
They identify 4 cars on the forecourt that would cover the debt and all the costs of removal.
That's enough, you reckon, or...?
Yeah. When we enforce against car dealers, you know that there's always assets, and you know in the back of your mind it's just a bit of a waiting game, and if you back off a bit you're eventually going to get the debt paid.
But there's still no sign of the debtor.
Well, what we're going to do is, as we can't get hold of him, we're going to do a controlled goods agreement. He needs to contact us when he gets in, or when you can get in contact with him to make a payment on this. Otherwise, we're going to have to come back and remove goods if there's not a payment made.
I'll give him 48 hours.
48 hours.
Gary and Connor list the cars they've identified to seize on a controlled goods agreement and leave the paperwork in the office. The controlled goods agreement means the cars cannot legally be moved or sold. And if Mr. Adams doesn't pay in 48 hours, they have the right to return to seize them.
All right. Thanks, mate. Take care.
It's quite frustrating to get to an address and you've got all this leverage in front of you and there's nobody there to speak to. But all you can do is take control of the assets that are there and leave the paperwork and give them a chance to get in touch.
2 days later, Mr. Adams has still not been in touch, and so Gary and Connor are paying another visit to Aspire Auto. But this time, they're in for a surprise.
The gates are locked.
God's sake.
And our Peugeot's not in the showroom anymore.
Is it not?
No. He's got one of them heavy-duty padlocks on this one.
Makes life a bit awkward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The other 3 cars Gary and Connor listed on the controlled goods agreement have also disappeared, and the place appears to be empty.
So if he has removed the cars, then he is breaking the law, and the police will then become involved, and the cars will be reported as stolen. But there's someone here.
But then Gary spots someone leaving the showroom.
Excuse me! If you don't open the gates, mate, we'll force entry.
Yeah, the guys in there have obviously been briefed not to speak to us. Let me go and speak to this fella. There is someone over there. Fellas, I'm about to cut the gate open, okay? So you either want to open it or get this bloke on the phone.
Gary sees the man going into another building at the back of the car showroom.
Does he lock that gate as well?
Get the big yellow scissors out.
The writ empowers them to force entry if necessary.
Want to get the owner on the phone for me, please?
I've got the police on the phone.
At the back of the dealership, Gary's in for a surprise. He finds a large working garage. If this is part of Mr. Adams's business, the expensive equipment inside would be much more cost-effective to remove than the vehicles left on the forecourt.
Got a High Court writ. I need proof of ownership for all the diagnostic equipment in there, the tyre machines, everything.
This is actually a separate business compared with the front.
Are you open for business?
I am.
Why isn't the gate open?
Because the customers ring us.
Sorry?
Because the customers ring us.
What, do you mean when I came to the gate and you walked away from me?
Despite the man's claims that this is a separate business to Aspire Auto, Gary is suspicious.
Has he got a number for Richard Adams?
Okay. That side doesn't do it.
I think you're being a bit more evasive than what...
I was just told to keep the doors locked and keep myself to myself, and that's what I'm doing.
I don't think you're being completely honest with me. What's your name, fella?
Do you know?
Nothing to do with me.
No, I've got nothing to do with any of this.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't believe that between everyone that's here now, you haven't got any contact details, or you're not able to contact Richard Adams.
I've got a number for him.
It just doesn't ring true to me, I'm afraid.
Gary still hasn't seen proof that the garage is not part of Aspire Auto. Then he spots some paperwork.
Right, yeah, this is kind of what I need to... So I've found some receipts here, which they've all got Aspire Auto on.
Nail in the coffin.
The receipts show that garage repairs and services are being invoiced under the name Aspire Auto. Gary now has the evidence to show that the garage is connected with the debtor company.
This guy's locking up the...
But then the mechanic takes action of his own.
If you lock that, I'll be breaking it open. If you lock that, I'll be breaking it open. You're not doing yourself any favours by doing this. The goods in there, I believe, belong to Aspire Auto. If you don't open these, then I'll call the police, because you deliberately just locked these doors.
The police, mate. Come on, let's call the police.
Kent Police, please. I need police assistance, please, because I've got people here obstructing me.
The police are on their way. But then, Connor spots something in an unlocked car.
Gary, mate.
Yeah. Oh, hello. All spotted.
The diagnostic unit, with its expensive software, could be worth almost £4,000.
So this is quite a good piece of leverage you've got. It's probably worth more than any of the cars on the forecourt, but this will fit in the glove box, whereas a car is logistically a lot more difficult to remove. We've got a result.
The machine is all the agents need to offset the debt.
This is the connectors, all the connectors and stuff. All that in there.
This is it, mate. This is it cleared.
With no need to get into the garage, Gary calls off the police.
Can I cancel police assistance, please?
It's quite normal for debtors to be evasive, but when they're going to the lengths that they're refusing access and removing goods that we've already taken control of, then it oversteps a boundary and they're actually committing an offence then. It never ceases to amaze me the lengths people will go to be evasive.
All right, mate. All right, see you later, mate.
Well, we got what we came for.
That's the main thing.
Research has revealed that having children increases the probability of getting into debt by more than 50%. More than a third of UK families with children report that they would have to borrow money to pay for essentials should the cost of living increase. High Court enforcement agents Matt Highway and Gary Ball are in Birmingham to collect a debt of over £6,500 owed by Nada Joma and Tony Santos for unpaid nursery fees.
He's a bit of a danger to himself, isn't he?
The nursery escalated the case to the High Court.
Go over the drive, mate.
And now Matt and Gary must collect payments in full today.
Hello, morning. Could I speak to Nada Jamal or Tony Santos, please?
Yeah, who's here?
My name's Mr. Highway, I'm a High Court enforcement agent.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yourself or is it somebody here?
They moved from here.
They moved from here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have you got some identification for yourself?
Yeah.
You have? Smashing. Thank you. Thank you.
The woman shows the agents a passport in the name of Hayam Kadimi. But as this is the address on the writ, the agents have the right to stay and investigate further.
Now, when did you move in?
About 6 months ago.
6 months ago? Yeah. You live on your own here?
Yeah, with the 3 kids.
And is it property rented?
Yeah.
You got a tenancy agreement?
If you come back to me after I grab the case, I'll be there.
Yeah, you're going to need to find it now, sweet, I'm afraid. We need to see it now.
Okay, give me 2 minutes to check, okay?
Thank you.
But Matt is suspicious.
You just play with it for a minute. I'll see if there's any notes on the system.
Yeah.
Matt turns detective. He checks all the information he's been given about the debtor on his phone.
Thank you. Let's get that passport back up again, man.
Excuse me, why are you checking?
Matt checks the woman's ID with the details on his phone.
What's your date of birth, madam?
14 January, 84.
Got the right person, madam, it's you, isn't it?
Well, unless you've got exactly the same date of birth as the person that's just moved out, which is pretty unlikely, isn't it, really?
Matt and Gary now suspect that she might be using 2 names.
Are you Nada Jamal?
No.
With the woman still denying that she's the debtor, Matt and Gary now need to use all their skill to work out if she's telling the truth and get the £6,500 they came for. High Court enforcement agents Matt Highway and Gary Ball were at an address in Birmingham, seeking to recover £6,500 from Nada Jomar and Tony Santos.
Moved from here?
They moved from here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The woman who lives here showed ID with a different name to the one on the writ.
Got the right person, madam, it's you, isn't it?
Now the agent suspects she is using 2 names.
Well, unless you've got exactly the same date of birth as the person that's just moved out, which is pretty unlikely, isn't it, really?
Matt hopes his persistence will pay off.
No?
I will tell you, Tony Santos is my ex-partner.
He's your ex-partner?
Yeah.
Right, smashing. Now we're getting somewhere now, aren't we?
He's not here.
He's not here?
He left the country.
Right, okay. And you're not Nada Jamal?
No.
You're not?
But Matt is not giving up. The agents look inside the property. They want to find evidence to confirm their suspicions that the woman is using 2 names and that she is the debtor that they're looking for.
Is this my paper?
Sorry?
Is this my paper?
It's one of your letters, yeah.
Why are you checking my letters?
I can check anything that's in the property.
Gary then makes an important discovery.
What's her name on the writ? Jomar. Her residence permit?
Nada Abdul Hamid Jamal.
One name on a court writ, one name on a passport, same lady.
Well, that's the game, isn't it? That's how the game's played.
The document proves that the woman is the debtor, Nada Jomar, after all.
So do you want to talk some sense now? Your name's Nada Jamal. Tony's your ex-partner, yes? Yeah. Correct. Smashing. When you find that bit of evidence, and you know it is checkmate. You know, there's nowhere for the defendant to go. They've got to either deal with it or lose something, and all that's left to do is take the money.
With her deceit uncovered, the agents can now continue to enforce the writ.
So we're here with a High Court writ this morning on behalf of probably a day nursery that your children went to, I'd have thought. It's now been escalated to the High Court for enforcement purposes. So we're here today to remove £6,568.32 worth of goods. The only way to stop that from happening is to pay in full.
In full?
Yes. £6,568.32. So if you'd like to make some phone calls, if you need to, or if you need to contact Tony, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, smashing.
Nada tries to get her ex-partner, Tony, on the phone, but he's not picking up.
You need to speak to him, because unless we get payment, then we're removing goods. So if you want to avoid that, then you need to speak to him.
He's not answering.
No? Can you pay this amount, madam? 6,568.32.
You want to come back for me after?
No, thank you. Wait, I don't think you understand. We're here to either remove goods to this amount. The only way to stop that is to pay.
With no offer of payment and Nada unable to reach her former partner, the agents have no choice but to seize assets. Matt turns his attention to the car parked outside.
Just stick a clamp on that. Chevrolet, mate.
But the value of the car would only cover part of the debt. So the agents need to start an inventory of goods inside the house for other assets they could seize.
I'll just start taking pictures of the items. Right?
Yeah, I got TV, mate, to start with.
Top there as well. And a PS4 as well.
I'm telling you, take whatever you want to take.
No, it's fine.
But as the agents continue their inventory, they make a surprising discovery.
Oh, this is an interesting one, Mr. Ball. Gary.
Yeah? Where are you? What's that?
She's also a special constable for Northamptonshire Police.
You're joking.
It absolutely beggars belief.
She's learning to be a special constable. So are you a special constable then?
Yeah, just 4 weeks left.
Can I give you a little piece of advice?
Yeah.
If you're going to be a police officer, the next time someone comes and asks you a question, you need to answer it truthfully.
I know. And I told you to take everything. I'll give you my car. I said take my car even. Because I know you're doing your job and I can't take all this hassle. It's too much for me.
Sometimes if the if the debt's a considerable amount of money, the defendant will actually rather that you take something because they know the value of it. They know what it is to them. They bought it originally. So if they paid £1,500 to £2,000 for it, they know that's what it's worth to them. So if you're there looking for £4,000 or £5,000, then sometimes that's the best outlet for the defendant to say, well, OK, just take the car.
The agents have now been in the house for an hour and a half. It's nearly 9 a.m. and Nada needs to take her children to school.
This is the house key.
This one is, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the car key.
Yeah.
With her car seized, the family go off in a taxi, leaving the agents to continue the enforcement alone.
She's left the property now. So she's gone and said, crack on, do what you like and see you later. So we've got very little choice now but to remove goods.
The assets in the house aren't enough to cover the £6,500 debt, so Matt decides to take the car.
Hello. Hi, mate. Where's the car got to go to? Because I'll probably just drive it there, save waiting for recovery. OK.
The agents lock up and leave the property. Nada will have 14 days to pay the debt, or the car will be sold at auction.
Got a full tank of fuel, we're good to go.
If selling the car doesn't cover the debt, the agents will be back.
I think on an enforcement visit, when something's being hidden and it becomes apparent that someone's hiding something, it spurs us on. It gives us the drive to look even deeper and to turn the rocks over that hadn't been turned over previously. There's something to hide there. What is it? Why are they hiding it? Is it going to be of use to us? Is it an asset that's been hidden away from us? Is it going to essentially allow us to enforce the writ today?
New Cant Pay Will Take It Away is back same time next week. Tomorrow night at 9, the new series of Jane McDonald and Friends continues with Lee Mead and Elkie Brooks joining our songbird to belt out some great tunes. Next tonight, Eamon and Ruth reveal the silent killer that's lurking in 9 million homes in new Do the Right Thing.